Last night in Atlanta, the Clippers played like they had a clear conscience and the weight of the world was knocked off their shoulders. Did the removal of Chris Paul have something to do with that? A very debatable subject. The Clippers dominated Atlanta 115-92 to snap a 5-game losing streak. It was only the second time this season the Clippers held an opponent below 100 points. The Clippers gave up 98 points at Golden State on October 28 but lost that game. James Harden led the Clippers last night with 27 points and 9 assists. The Clippers' defense was so effective that Atlanta had only 14 free throw attempts. It was obvious the Clippers were in a better mood in their first game without Paul. The 12-time All-Star point guard and future Hall of Famer was released late Tuesday night for being too critical of the team. We'll see if Paul's departure keeps the Clippers in a feel-good atmosphere. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Celebrate the soul of the holidays and support Altadena and Pasadena. Join us on Monday, December 15th, 7 p.m. inside the Bram Goldsmith Theater at the Wallace in Beverly Hills for Soul of the Holidays, a joyful night of Motor City soul, gospel, and holiday classics featuring an 18-piece band, all-star vocalist, and community choirs, all in support of the Black LA Relief and Recovery Fund. This performance comes at a pivotal time for many in Altadena and Pasadena. This is their first holiday season since the devastating Altadena Eden Canyon fire, which destroyed homes and community spaces. While the physical losses are immense, the power of community remains, and your attendance directly supports recovery, resilience, and renewal. So, be sure to join us Monday, December 15th, 7 p.m. inside the Bram Goldsmith Theater at the Wallace in Beverly Hills for Soul of the Holidays, benefiting survivors of the Altadena Eden Canyon fire. For ticket information, just log on to tickets@thewallace.org. That's tickets@thewallace.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580 and the Black Freedom Fund.
KBLA Talk 1580. I love it when I get to meet new people on my job. It's one of the things that makes this thing great. Welcoming into the studio this morning an associate professor in the Department of Family Medicine at the UCLA Geffen School of Medicine, specializing in trauma, behavioral health, and community-driven research. He's an award-winning scientist and activist who's trained over 20,000 individuals worldwide regarding trauma, mental health, social justice, and peace building. Dr. Micah Johnson, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad to meet you. Glad you're here.
How's your mental health? How are you doing? I know you're doing a lot of activism. You're doing a lot of work. You got a lot of passion. Are you taking care of yourself because we need you?
Oh, thank you for saying that. You know what? I work out and I meditate.
Okay.
And I recently took up yoga. I think that was the Trump administration escalation, adding yoga to the mix.
All right. Well, that's good. Okay. There it is.
Yeah,
we
because
need that sustainability.
Right. 6 a.m. every day. You have to do something.
Yeah. For sure.
But sometimes I think it's beyond that, and I'm pretty sure you'll co-sign this, or maybe you'll help to illuminate this, that we can eat right and do yoga and work out and do all the little checklist things, and still there's this unresolved trauma or things that we just haven't faced or dealt with yet that are actually influencing our everyday lives.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. That's the tough part, so it's two sides to it. You have this mental health that just happens, like a cold or a flu or anything like that. Any sort of health issue can just come because it's a part of human experience. But then you have those deeper cuts and deeper wounds that take a little bit more time to unpack, and sometimes they're always with you like a scar. But that scar can become something that represents something positive. It could represent triumph and victory. It could represent overcoming. It could represent getting on to the other side. So I think it's all a part of this incredible recipe that makes everybody wonderful and dope and brilliant and unique. It's a part of it.
Is figuring out what it is about that scar or that trauma that can actually be a contributor or can make you better.
That's the other side of it. But once you heal from the scar is when you start to put meaning to it. But first you do have to heal, and that healing can take some time. So I think the hard part is acknowledging it, addressing it, and then giving yourself that time and the effort that's required to heal from trauma. And then once you begin to heal and you get to that space where you have that equilibrium and that peace, then it becomes meaning, because it's always with you. Right, it's always a part of you, and it's something you could really own, and it becomes something that you can find some purpose in.
The dermatologist, Dr. Paul Wallace, was in here about a month ago, and he was saying that there's this condition, skin condition, that's very, very painful. It affects Black women a lot, and they're not being given the pain medication because the doctors don't believe that they can function with that level of pain, even though other communities that come in with this exact same diagnosis are getting higher levels of pain medication because they're not functioning. And the reason I bring up that example is because I think that's part of the challenge is that we're tough. We keep it pushing.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go to work. We're going to show up. We might be mad. We might have an attitude, but we're going to function. If we're able to function through pain and trauma, how do we get to healing?
Oh man, that's a good question. Right. So I think those are separate things too, right? So why don't healthcare professionals treat Black women the same? Well, that's a whole different story. Some of it is this sort of idea of Black women resilience, right? It's idea that Black women are just stronger and they can just manage pain differently, therefore whatever. But that has a lot to do with stigma. There's a lot of research on stigma and how folks prescribe medicines very differently, particularly opioids and other pain meds. So that's one pot, right? And then you have this other pot of like, well, what is this perceived resilience among Black women? What is the real perceived and cultural traditional resilience that folks are talking about? And what does it mean? Does it mean that Black women are superheroes, but superheroes require more to sustain themselves, right? There's a lot more exerted, therefore a lot more required, a lot more grace, patience, healthcare, all that stuff.
Right, we don't get the Bat Cave or the Batmobile.
You don't get the
just
utility
the criminals
belt
to fight. Right,
No.
right. We don't have the the utility belt. Exactly.
Nothing. You just go, and then they don't expect you to sleep. Batman gets tired. Batwoman gets tired. Superwoman gets tired. So that's one piece of it. Is just like as a culture, community, how do we kind of think about things like that? The heavy is the crown, So when folks say queen and and talk of dear mama and all these just know it comes with that, that award is heavy too. And it's just know that, something is required. There's a cross to bear.
Yeah. And there's a stereotype in there that I think you're pointing to, which I always push back on, which a lot of people are starting to push back on. I don't want to be the strong Black woman.
No,
I want to be pampered like everybody else.
No. And that's the second leg of it is like, okay, all right, nah, I'm not that tough. I'm sensitive and I'm just like everybody else. It's like, if you see me perceive it as strength, that's just courage maybe. That's just me. That's me having to fight you. I don't want to fight you. I have to fight you. I have to be strong enough to survive. And I shouldn't have to be. So part of justice is not having to be strong and fight and a superwoman all the time and saving everybody's problems. But here we are.
Here we are.
Here you are.
Here we are. But the other side of that question could apply to Black men, Black women, or really anybody.
Right.
Especially people that are under-resourced, we're going to fight through because we got to keep the lights on and feed our kids.
That's
right.
it.
So we're functional inside of trauma. So how do you get to the healing part?
So I want to just say that, yes, everybody in the world has some degree of this, carrying burdens. But I will say, that there is something unique about black women historically in this country. There is a unique burden there that folks need to unpack and understand. I mean, it's too much placed on the shoulders of black women. So I just want to just acknowledge that fact. That's distinct. Trauma. Okay, what is trauma? Trauma is these deeply distressing, disturbing experiences that one experiences that can have some effect on you. And some folks define it as this effect that causes some negative change. But it's a little more than that. Sometimes you don't know the change. Sometimes you're not aware of it. Sometimes it's more subconscious and invisible traumas. Sometimes it's a historical collective trauma that's impacting you that you have no concept of. So trauma is one of those types of definitions of more of these deeply disturbing things. Okay, so now how do we begin to address it? Number one, get settled in and kind of understand. Do some self-time. Figure out, do a self-assessment, a soul audit. Who am I? What have I experienced? And how is that shaping me? That little work right there is the first part of this. And I think, so I deal with a lot of, I've been working in trauma for about 2 decades and about 10 years as a scholar. All I do is talk to people with serious traumas across the board. And I find myself working a lot with youth because there's no system in place for youth that have real trauma and a lack of support systems.
Yeah.
They get funneled into the juvenile justice system, to the criminal justice system. Different states, different cities have different ways of dealing, but for the most part, there is no mechanism for them. But what folks, what's becoming apparently clear to me is that childhood trauma is a real thing, and a lot of people have childhood trauma. And they're quiet about it. They don't really address it. A lot of people try to, bury it under success, under beauty, under work ethic, or just being a recluse, under personality.
Right.
So that's good though, because that means it's a part of the human experience. People have this. So people understand trauma without understanding the medical, technical, scientific terms. But to know you're not alone in this thing called life, it is a good thing. People start thinking, it's something unique about me. I'm broken and
everyone else is normal and I'm not.
Yeah, everybody's normal and I have this thing and it just happened to me. But everyone has their own, experience that fundamentally shapes them in a negative way unless they can get a hold of it, address it, and heal. So to your question so now that we know what trauma is, how do we begin to heal? Again, that first step is that awareness, but also it takes work. It does take work. And everybody's path looks differently. So it's about, really diving inside yourself and making it a personal journey. But the most important thing is finding that meaning in it too, finding that joy in it, finding that purpose in it, and seeing something positive coming out of it. I think that's important.
Yeah. Soul audit is deep. Taking a soul audit is like an inventory of your trauma to see where, what I even need to work through, what I even need to heal. And then from there, you can start addressing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I think that when I see, whether it's in relationships or jobs, when we keep having the same problem over and over again, that could be a sign that there's some trauma coming into play, right?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. All right. You going to name names? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a list.
Absolutely. Yes.
I mean, I just think that it's sometimes, you're the expert.
Right.
If I'm angry and I don't know why, if I'm sad and I don't know why, and this is happening a lot, could that be some stuff, something, the kind of negative change that you're talking about that's coming back to me from something that happened to me in my past?
100%. Yep. And sometimes you can have an external trigger it's annoying or it's unpleasant, but why is it hurting me like this? Why, sometimes you've been in a relationship with someone and they said something, you're like, it could be a child or a significant other, whatever. You're like, you said that though. And it's like, yeah, but those are just words. It's like, but you're like, nah, that's not just words. And so that's, you start to say, okay, you're pushing a button that I'm not even aware that existed.
Right.
So you're triggering something in me. And that's what you have to do. That's what I mean by that soul, all that self-work of like, sometimes you have to stop an argument and say, wait a second, this is not about you. I have to go try to do some figuring out of why I'm allowing you, or why I'm responding to what you're doing in that way. Why am I responding to this stimuli, this trigger in this way? Because this is now about me.
So what do I ask myself at that moment?
Well, first of all, evacuate, because you don't want to, lay hands on people out of church.
Get out.
Right. You got to just get into some solitude and really reflect. And this, you don't have to go through that alone. We have some of the best, Black, brown, BIPOC, and others that are incredible therapists, coaches, and people that got their IQ up when it comes to wellness and relationships. You can connect and say, hey, this is what happened. I'm trying to make sure, I think this is something deeper. Let's talk, to help me talk through this. And they can help you talk through that and do those things. So I think everybody who considers themselves a king, queen, entrepreneur, creative, thinker, humanitarian, they're going to need a few tools in their tool belt, and one of those tools is you're going to need a therapist.
You might need some help.
You're going to need that, regardless of who you are. You're going to need that. You're going to need a good mentor. You're going to need a good therapist. So I think that's it. So start asking yourself those questions about, what are my thoughts? What did I experience? What's shaping me? Why do I feel this way? The best part about studying trauma, besides being at the airport and people just gravitate toward you, that's why I know my work is more than just, it's vocation, it's purpose, because people be at the airport and just say, listen, I don't know why, I just want to tell you that, this is what I'm dealing with. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, I have no idea why I'm telling you this. So I'm like, yeah, I know why. It happens all the time. I know why. And I said, this is my work, so please.
You're walking in your purpose. That's amazing.
I am.
Dr. Micah E. Johnson is my guest. He's a scientist, but also an artist.
Yes.
I'm going to find out about that when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 remembers Robin Ayers on the 1-year anniversary of her passing. 1 year ago this week, we lost a remarkable and vibrant voice. Robin Ayers touched countless lives through her passion, her love, her service, and her smile, which you could see through the radio. KBLA Talk 1580 honors her memory and celebrates the legacy she left behind. Robin, your spirit lives on in every conversation, in every connection, and in every one of us, inspired by your voice. Gone, but never forgotten. KBLA Talk 1580, where voices matter.
I'm missing you. Tell me why the road turns. I'm missing you. Tell me why the road turns.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Light a candle, pour some wine. Grab a roll, the soft kind for a little me time. Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear. Wavy edges for my rear. So let the softness caress your soul. Just relax, you're on a roll. Let her rip. Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear.
Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear has the same softness you love, now with wavy edges that tear better than the leading one-ply brand. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
All right, we do have a lot to talk about. Dr. Micah E. Johnson is in the studio. I know when you have a name like Johnson, you have to have that middle name, but what the E in there, what's the E for?
My name is Micah Elijah.
Elijah.
E is the middle name, and I say the E because it's a long story, but there was a brother from Dallas named Micah Johnson who did some, he did some he basically hurt some police officers.
Oh,
He became very famous. And I'll never forget when it was airing on the news, there was a cop behind me, and I was like, I'm going by Micah E from now on. I'm Dr. Micah E. Johnson from now on. No longer Micah Johnson. Because he looked like me too. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Even crazier. Yeah, sometimes I say Dominique B. DePrima. The B is for Baraka. Just to make it clear, I want to give some love to Pops. But look, we were talking off mic about how this, what you call trauma IQ,
right?
Which is what?
Right. So it's mental health literacy, but also it's just having a trauma-informed approach to life. So just knowing what trauma is and just knowing that people in your family, in your community, in your relationships are dealing with this. And tapping into your own personal stuff helps you kind of develop that empathy. And I think it's a huge gift. You know, my life was, I'm not going to dive into my personal life too much, but my life was filled with a lot of childhood trauma. And this is what provoked my passion for this. If I didn't have those experiences, I wouldn't have the passion. But most importantly, I wouldn't have that perspective and that compassion and that connection to the people who have these similar experiences. So I was given a great gift that I didn't understand until the last 5-10 years of my life. I finally understood it. Like, oh, this was a beautiful gift, a way by which I could connect and have these discussions. So that trauma IQ, that trauma informed, or just being aware that, you know, your community, your people are dealing with stressors. And when you have that context, you can have that grace and have that humanity. Like, you can't understand your own pain and your people's pain and yet have such a lack of patience with them and be so easy to swipe left on people you care about because they're imperfect. Of course they're imperfect in a moment. They're under stress. We've been under stress.
So
we are distressed.
Giving each other more grace.
More grace, 100%, I think, is the message of everything I'm trying to do creatively, but also as a scholar. That is my message. It's grace. It is.
The scientist, the stereotype of the scientist is, you know, alone in a lab or alone in a study. But also one kind of brain. The stereotype of the artist is a totally different kind of brain, right?
Yes.
The intellectual, scholarly brain versus the wildly adventurous artistic brain.
Yes.
But you are a writer and you are an artist.
Yes. I am probably the only tenured scholar in the country who has $5 million in NIH grants, but also a SAG actor.
NIH is National Institute of Health.
And these
also a SAG,
but also a
Screen
SAG
Actors
actor.
Guild actor.
Yes, Screen Actor. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So that's the worlds I'm in. So I'm in this space where I get to be my whole self. But there's a lot of overlap between being a creative and being a scientist. But I am a real scientist with legit scientific articles. I'm tenured because of my scientific work. I'm more known for my scientific work as far as like in the field. I do a lot of activism based on my scientific work, the studies I've published as an expert witness and death row activist. But when all that's done, I get to tell stories, and the stories I tell deal with trauma and mental health and addiction and triumph and beauty and connection and grace. So I get to, you know, basically take all of my scientific inquiry and the work we do based on evidence and that process, and then we tell stories to communicate that medicine to the people. So what I hope to do is create gummy vitamins. I've been in these academic universities my whole life. I've been in church my whole life, and I understand that sometimes a vitamin in the medicine is just like nasty and like it's cutting and it's not as flavorful and rhythmic. What if we had the medicine and we could put it into a platform that had that culture and that rhythm and that vibe and that move to it, that wave to it, that young people in particular could digest and engage with? So what if we took the nutrition and put it in something that was colorful and chewy and delicious and digestible? And that's the art piece. And that's where art becomes power, art becomes healing, art becomes revolution. So I hope that I could tell stories as an actor and writer that become healing, that become revolutionary, that become inspiring, and that will foster grace and wellness for the people.
So you're kind of an artivist.
No, I've not heard that. I'm an activist first. I'm a humanitarian activist first. But yes, I'm all
Activist
those
first,
things.
scientist second, actor, writer, performer third.
Yeah, that's I don't know.
I mean, not that you should have to rank them.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I'm a servant.
But
if I had to rank
sometimes,
them, I'd be in trouble.
sometimes, you don't have any problem having your feet in all these worlds. Sometimes I feel like the academy is at odds with the arts, even though it, says that it supports them on some level. But the creation of the arts requires some things that aren't provable, some things that are just channeling the Most High, or you know what I mean? That
absolutely. There's
the
you
gray
cannot-
area.
Yeah, you can't. Your art cannot be bound by, but even by agenda and your own personal beliefs. That your artistic abilities didn't come from you, and you don't own them. So you have to be true to whatever the ancestors and the universe has given you, right? But so first and foremost, to your point about academia, I was not allowed to do this. That's why I came to UCLA. By the way, I'm brand new to LA, brand new to UCLA.
Welcome.
I'm from Florida. I'll come to you as a political refugee.
So you're the Florida man. Huh?
I am a political refugee seeking asylum.
Okay.
Yeah, I am a Florida man. Yes. So
Welcome. You'll love it here.
So I was not allowed to do that. I had to split my soul in two. I had to really do that Du Boisian double consciousness thing. I had to be someone else and to navigate my life and keep the bills paid. But that's why I love the Department of Family Medicine. I love my colleagues. I love the culture at UCLA and the Bunch Center. Because of the Bunch Center, I'm allowed to be my whole self. And they not only love it, they see the value in it. Not just from a humanity perspective, like, oh, obviously you have to be yourself. Obviously you have to do your work, but also fulfill your own passions and desires and purpose. They see it as like, oh, no, actually that's the best way to do community outreach and scientific inquiry and have these sort of public health programs. You have to engage with culture, community, and creativity. That is the best way to do it. That is the most innovative and effective way to do this. So, in fact, this is the best route forward. So that's why I love the Bunch Center in my department, because they allow me to do that, but they also see that it's innovative and valuable. And I love it. I love it.
And well, we'll get into this more after news, traffic, and sports. But sounds like that's what this piece is that you're doing on tomorrow. Is all of those elements coming together. It's a behavior. It started, you said, as a behavioral health intervention and evolved into a live comedy special. Sounds very unlikely.
Yes.
We've got 60 seconds. Please explain.
Yes. So, yeah, the gummy vitamins. So we know what works. We know the tools that generate peace and wellness for our youth, for our families, for our communities. How do we communicate that? Do we tell them in a boring lecture where people are going to fall asleep? Do we try to take young people from the streets to church and amen them? Or do we put it into something that they can understand, digest with? People understand comedy as a pedagogical and a therapeutic tool. Let's use that tool to communicate some of these wellness tools. And then so I just fully embrace street culture. I fully embrace youth culture. I fully embrace comedy. I embrace the ancient storytelling. And I am giving them that medicine with it. It's not just about cursing you out for 2 hours and foolishness. It's about, okay, this is a show and a comedy that will heal you. You can walk away with real tools. You'll want to call somebody and heal a relationship after you see this show, and you'll have the tools to do that.
The show is called On Site, and it's happening tomorrow. We'll tell you how to go when we come forward after news, traffic, and sports, and we're taking your phone calls. All that straight ahead on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias is making it easier to get a real ID before TSA's $45 penalty starts February 1st.
Less waiting, less stress, and government that actually works for you.
His office extended the Chicago Supercenter lease through 2026 and partnered with the Cook County Clerk to speed up the process. Another victim has been identified in a mass shooting at a birthday party in Stockton, California. Black 8-year-old girl Maya Lupian was among 4 people killed. 11 others were injured during a celebration with about 100 guests. The suspect is still at large. And actress Halle Berry spoke at the Deal Book Summit in New York, blasting California Governor Gavin Newsom for vetoing a menopause care bill and calling out society's disregard for aging women. She urged women to stand up for themselves. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and most of all, being known, loved, and protected. There are thousands of kids waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Last night in Atlanta, the Clippers played like they had a clear conscience and the weight of the world was knocked off their shoulders. Did the removal of Chris Paul have something to do with that? A very debatable subject. The Clippers dominated Atlanta 115-92 to snap a 5-game losing streak. It was only the second time this season the Clippers held an opponent below 100 points. The Clippers gave up 98 points at Golden State on October 28th, but lost that game. James Harden led the Clippers last night with 27 points and 9 assists. The Clippers' defense was so effective that Atlanta had only 14 free throw attempts. It was obvious the Clippers were in a better mood in their first game without Paul. The 12-time All-Star point guard and future Hall of Famer was released late Tuesday night for being too critical of the team. We'll see if Paul's departure keeps the Clippers in a feel-good atmosphere. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
In California, all workers have rights, no matter their immigration status. If you or a family member were detained by federal immigration authorities and did not receive your final paycheck, contact the Labor Commissioner's office. You can file a claim even if you left California or the U.S. Call 833-526-4636 from the U.S. or outside the country 001-833-526-4636. Document wage theft and report it to the Labor Commissioner's office.
In a city as big as LA, healthcare shouldn't feel far away. That's why Cedars-Sinai is breaking down barriers and bringing resources like free screenings, vaccinations, and wellness programs into local communities. From Leimert Park to Lincoln Heights and everywhere in between, Cedars-Sinai is showing up, partnering with over 200 local organizations to improve access to healthcare resources. Because care doesn't just happen inside a hospital. It happens in neighborhoods and places around the city where we live, work, and grow. Cedars-Sinai, here for LA.
This holiday season, KBLA Talk 1580 wishes you and yours joy, peace, and prosperity. As we celebrate with family and friends, we're already looking forward to an exciting first quarter, packed with must-attend events to kick off the new year just right. In January, join us for our inaugural Brotherhood Brunch, bringing together community leaders, change makers, and everyday people for inspiration and connection. February means it's time for our signature Black History Month luncheon, a powerful celebration you won't want to miss. And in March, Women's History Month, we're once again hosting our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium and Luncheon, addressing the issues that matter most inside our community. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, happy holidays. Stay tuned for more details on these incredible upcoming events. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice, your community, your power.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money. Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
Dr. Micah E. Johnson is with us, and we're adopting him as part of the KBLA delegation. It's really nice to meet you. He's a scientist, but also an artist. The show is on site. It is going on tomorrow, and it's a comedy show with a cause or a gummy vitamin, as you say. If we want to go, how do we go? The what, when, where, how, who?
So first and foremost, it's 100% free, and I'm paying for parking, which is a big deal for the first 50 people that show up. It's at UCLA's Lonnie, and I apologize for it being on campus and not in the community, but we're going to do a lot more in the community. The reason why I want to be on campus is because I really legitimately want to build those bridges between the campus and the community.
It's a nice
campus. When I mean
campus.
by community, I mean the people listening, you know, those people, us. So come out, because we want you to be there. You need to be there, and we need to build these relationships. It is at 7:00 p.m. at UCLA's Lonnie Hall. You can go to my website, which is Dr. Micah Johnson, and you can do Dr. Micah Johnson just to learn more about me. But also, if you go Dr. Micah Johnson, or just Google Micah Johnson on site LA, on site UCLA, I'll pop right up. The event will pop right up, and you can RSVP and learn more there. But also, I want to encourage you, just pull up to Lonnie Hall, LANI, at 7 p.m. tomorrow, and we're going to welcome you as family, treat you good. I got a little gift I'm going to give everybody. First 50 people get free parking, free event, free parking, and it's going to give you something for your soul. And we invested a lot to make sure it was free and for the people. So what is On Site? On Site is it's a show based on real stories of my work and working what is called death row in the South, because there's still a lot of young people on death row, and all of them have horrific childhood trauma profiles. All of them are dealing with trauma. So it's really cool conversation I had with folks who were facing life sentences and death sentences, but they were youth. So these people are ranging from like 15 to early 20s and mid 20s. So it's a really cool conversation about having them learn for the first time to talk through their traumas and deal with really try to navigate mental health in their lives and wellness and these different ideas and topics for the first time. And it is hilarious. It's real. It's raw. You will see yourself and your family in the show. These youth and the issue of violence among youth and youth gun violence is just an analogy for all the conflict that we deal with, for all the ways in which we punish each other, we hurt each other. It could be physically or psychological, all the ways in which our relationships are ruined because of the stress and trauma that we experience. And how can we turn that around and overcome that? The oppression and the stress and the lack of dignity, all of that has an effect. And what we end up doing is hurting the people that are closest to us, or hurting our neighbors, hurting our communities. So On Site is a way by which we give ourselves the tools to strengthen, heal, mend our relationships. And it's dope. It's funny. It's real. I mean, it is what it is. This is storytelling. So that's the gummy piece of it. So it's definitely dope. You should know that it's also a SAG-AFTRA film, and we're turning it into a film so we can share it with communities and families all over the place. But this is going to be the first showing of it in Los Angeles, and this is going to be the last showing before the film airs. We're sending it to film festivals, and we hope to scale this project. But for now, this is something unique for Los Angeles. If you're in LA, in the LA area, please pull up. We're going to treat you like royalty. If you particularly have any teenagers in your life, any young people between the ages of 15 to 25, we created this for them. So If you have them, grab them, throw them in the car, and bring them over. We love to see them. If you're a big homie, big sister, big brother, auntie, uncle, or just a peer, grab anybody in your life who's ever struggled with mental health, suspensions, detentions, not making friends, anybody who ever felt like isolated, anybody who's ever had negative encounters with police and the law, any young people dealing with that, bring them out. This is really for them and for their families and their communities. And I just can't wait to shake your hand, hug your neck, and say, we got your back.
All right. It sounds like you said, fun. Well, I go back to KRS-One, edutainment, entertainment, education, all of it, lumped into one. Let's go to Mike calling us from LA. Good morning, Mike. You're on with Dr. Micah E. Johnson. Welcome.
Good morning, Mike, Dr. Micah and Dominique. Yeah, I just want to say I'm a veteran, and as far as trauma is concerned, I've been through the mental thing at the veterans, but they interview you, and they like the last time I went, they interviewed me, and I told them about my childhood, and I had 12 brothers and sisters, and but the point I'm trying to make is the fact that we're dealing with white folks as interviewers. And they assume because you had 12 brothers and sisters and you black and you come from the east side, you had a hard life. So that was they assumed that was trauma. But as far as me living on the east side and having 12 brothers and sisters, I had a wonderful childhood. I wasn't exposed to any type of racism or anything like that at that time. And until I joined the Marine Corps, everything came down right fast. And I go and try to talk to a white psychologist, and he just assumed, oh no, it wasn't the Marine Corps did it. It was that was your childhood that did that. That's where you got your mental problems.
Mike, well, let me say thank you for your service.
Why don't they have more black people there? As far as in mental capacities to help people. I think one of the big things that saved me was my faith base. I'm constantly in church. I'm in church now, and Mike is really, really on point, right, talking about how the church can save you. And when you learn about grace, it helps a lot to self-medicate.
I mean, Mike, you just made a whole bunch of really good points. I did want to say thank you for your service, and I wanted to hear Micah's reflections on what you were sharing with us.
Right. So I'll be brief, and you're touching on something that's really important. It's a workforce issue. How do we make sure we have pipelines of folks that are basically from different communities, particularly in this conversation, black therapists, black mental health professionals? How do we make sure that we have adequate investment for that workforce? What you're experiencing is something that's very common with just a lack of black mental health professionals. But I want to say there are a bunch out there and there's a bunch on the way. But politics does affect that. When you have people that have a bunch of cuts to certain programs that are academic programs designed to recruit talent into these fields, you do have a situation where you have a deficit of workforce. You have far more people that need resources than you have people that are qualified to do that. So that's the point there, right? But a good therapist is a good therapist, and I think folks, what I want to encourage people to do is in your mind, think of finding a good therapist like finding good food, right? You're going to have to try it out. You can't just go one time and say, I'm not going out again because the food was nasty. You got to you got to shop around a little bit, unfortunately. You got to do a little bit of speed dating. You got to give yourself 5 different therapists, 5 or 6 to give yourself someone, I really connect with this person. This person understands. Because there are some people that, finding a black therapist may be difficult and challenging, but you may find somebody who gets it, who's more gifted and talented and could be able to address your needs. So just give it a couple more reps at it.
Shop around. I mean, the thing about it, Mike, I would think you're dealing with the Veterans Administration and some people are in HMOs or whatever, but you can still request another therapist, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you can say, do you have anybody black? Well, how about brown? You don't even got anybody beige. I mean,
right.
You can ask around and say, that's important to you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
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 Okay.
And thank you for sharing that,
Dominique.
brother.
Thank
And,
you, Dominique.
the cultural competence is real. So that's
It's real. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super real.
I mean, just the example he gave that they assumed it was trauma because he had 12 brothers and sisters,
yeah.
but the trauma really came from being in the military services is
honestly,
really telling.
Without knowing the details, that more so sounds like a competence overall issue and a skill set issue, you know. And unfortunately, just because someone makes it to become a therapist doesn't mean they're a good therapist. There are a lot of therapists out there that need to, you know, spend some more time at their craft. But there are some dope ones out there that will transform your life.
Yeah, I love that you said that. Just don't look at it. Look at it like a restaurant. Just because one sucked doesn't mean we give up on all restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great analogy. We're talking with Dr. Micah E. Johnson, a scientist and an artist. His show is tomorrow, and you can go at the UCLA Lonnie Hall. It's free, and if you get there early, even the parking is free. We'll continue our conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
If you have asthma, you know that there are certain things that can set off your asthma symptoms. These things are called triggers, and patients with severe asthma have an average of 8 triggers. It could be pollen, dust, pollution, colds, viruses, smoke, or stress. If you know your symptoms, you have already taken the first step to managing your asthma. The next step is to write your triggers down in a notebook or journal and record your symptoms when you come across those triggers. This will give your healthcare provider valuable information about what you can do to help manage your triggers. By understanding your triggers and writing them down, you are on your way to taking back control of your lung health. Visit luma-edu.com for more guidance. This message is brought to you by Amgen and AstraZeneca.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Established in 2020 during a time of deep racial unrest across our state and country, the Black Freedom Fund was created to make sure that leaders and organizations working to support Black communities and build power have the resources they need to stay in the fight for the long haul. We believe that those closest to the issues impacting our communities know best how to solve them. That's why in just the last 5 years, we've granted more than $45 million to over 200 grassroots organizations across California. That is the largest collective investment in Black organizing in history, and we're just getting started. We are clear-eyed and committed, more now than ever, to our people, our power, and our possibility. Join us in creating a future where Black people harness their full power to shape their lives and realize a just world for all. Learn more at fundblackfreedom.org. That's fundblackfreedom.org. The Black Freedom Fund is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
Dr. Micah E. Johnson is my guest, and it's just a fascinating story. I feel like we could have a lot of conversations. I do want to give you the opportunity, though. KBLA is teaming up with the LA Metro, Metrolink, I should say, Metrolink Holiday Express. It's a party train is what it is, and we've got a pair of tickets right now for caller 15. It's a decorated holiday train, Santa Santa and Mrs. Claus will be there. They're going to have carolers, treats and snacks. They're going to have interactive activities. And you just go there, ride around CLA, hang out with some of your fellow Angelinos, and have some holiday spirit. We're taking caller 15 right now, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. This is Saturday morning. We've got a pair of tickets for two, you and a friend, you and a kid. If you have a bunch of kids, we might even be able to make a special exception for you, 800-920-1580. So, we are talking with Dr. Micah Johnson. I feel like we could go all the way down the scientist path and talk more about trauma. We could go all the way down the Screen Actors Guild working actor path and talk about the arts. But you are standing at the intersection, and I think that's a powerful place to be. My dad, the late Amiri Baraka, the founder of one of the founders of the Black Arts Movement, talks a lot about and activated around the idea that the arts need to be enlisted, and in a way we have a responsibility to be enlisted to foster liberation and foster a better community and better opportunity and environment for our communities, for our people, for Black people,
Absolutely.
For poor people, etc.
Absolutely. And it really is, the artistic piece really is the medicine and a power. And folks have understood that, and they've used it and co-opted art for negativity and for their own agenda. We take back art and make it in storytelling and these different artistic art forms and methods and mediums, and we make them a part of the solution, a part of the healing, a part of the revolution, a part of community building. And I think it's one of those things where anything that exists in science, if you can add culture, community, and creativity to it, it amplifies it, it enhances it, especially if you're talking about dissemination, which means basically communicating and building bridges with the community and with real people, real families. You add that creativity, community, and culture, and you can amplify that mission and that work. So I love it. I think it's absolutely a beautiful thing, and I can say that nothing like this exists. If I had to sum it up, I would say it's great and you gotta see it. And one of the last times to see it live before the film is tomorrow, and it's free and it's by us, for us type of deal. And I want it to be about relationships. So bring somebody in your life and let's have this conversation. The coolest thing about this show is that it really dives into the world of a young person who's dealt with a lot of adversity and hardships and was funneled into the system. And so these are real, guys that consider themselves, I'm street, or I'm bad, or I'm gangster, but they're not. And when they're offered an opportunity to say, listen, I know tools. Oh, well, if you'll teach me the tools, let's go. I have, everyday people, it's hard to get them to engage with mental health tools. It's hard to get them to engage with therapy. But these kids who are supposed to be the gangsters and the degenerates, the delinquents and all of that, they were like, oh no, if you take time to teach me, I'm going to do it. I'll do whatever to transform my life and be a better person. I didn't expect that. So it's this really cool, funny story about how these young people, some of them real street guys and gangsters, are like really trying to learn breathing techniques and trying to learn conflict de-escalation in their own way, on their own terms, using their own language. So it's a really dope experience. It is raw and it gets emotional, but it's dope. And we really hope people come out and see it, because our really ultimate goal is to turn this thing into a film. It's already a SAG film. It's already under review at festivals. We just need to connect with the people. We need the support of the people, because if we get the support of the people, this thing can go to the next level. We can get put on larger platforms, and we can truly connect these tools and these stories to families and communities across the country and maybe even across the world. So I'm so excited about this. This is going to be this is the most important thing of my life right now, and it's really full circle, because I was the one in the juvenile justice system with the trauma who was one mistake away from a serious charge and a serious sentence, and because someone intervened in my life, I have to pay it forward. I have to give back. That's why every week, even next week, I'm going to testify in a death penalty case, 2 of them back to back, because I feel like I knew I was one mistake away from something that would funnel fundamentally changed my life and fundamentally set me on a different path. So I'm here working, literally still in the streets, so to speak, still in the systems, working with youth, and I get to come back to academia. I get to come back to the artistic world and tell their stories, and it's one of the greatest joys of my life, and I think you will appreciate it too. And I think you may be very different than these young people, but you'll find yourself in this story. You will see yourself in this story. You will laugh, you will learn, and more importantly, you're going to connect and feel that community, and you're going to leave a better humanitarian. That's my goal for tomorrow. So come out, let me shake your hand, welcome me to the LA. I need you to welcome me to the city. I need you to stamp me, you know.
Right. And if you're not one of these, if you're not one of the youth that he's talking about, we all have some folks in our lives.
Absolutely.
Especially here in LA, we all got folks in our lives like that. You said you wanted to put a call out for programs here in LA.
Absolutely, yes. So one of the things that's really important to me to do here is to serve. So I'm going to do something. As soon as we push this show through the film festivals this spring, I'm going to come to every single organization, not everyone, but I'm going to do 50 organizations that serve youth. It could be a detention center. It could be a second chance school. It can be a high school. It could be a private school. It could be a church. It could be anything. If you serve more than 40 youth, I want to come out. I want to shake your hand. If you particularly serve youth that have unique challenges with mental health, or that have had negative experiences in the school system, or negative experiences in the justice system, or with police officers, I want to come meet those types of kids, any kids who experience trauma. If your group, your church, your organization, your system, if you serve those kids, I'm coming. I want to come shake your hand. I want to meet y'all. This will be toward the later half of the spring, once we get through the film festival season. I'm coming. I don't care what your budget is, certain PWIs, it costs them a lot of money to get me to pull up. I'll take whatever you got. It could be $5. It could be a pack of gum. It could be a few stickers. It could be a pat on the back. I'm coming, and I want to shake your hand. So you can contact me at drmicahjohnson.com. You can Google me. I'll pop right up. I'm Micah Johnson at UCLA. And I know y'all going to start reaching out to me, so let's do it. I'm definitely pulling up, and I definitely want to shake your hand. I want to meet the young people you serve. I want to meet your staff. I want to meet your community, and I just want to do the work. So I'm here to serve. I'm here to grind, and I hope that people resonate with this work. And I hope that these stories are not just about these youth. It's not about the youth in particular. They're just an analogy. Really, all this is about, how do we heal relationships in our lives? You listening, how can you make that phone call, double back, apologize, connect, understand that whatever broke that relationship maybe had very little to do with the individuals and more to do about the larger childhood experiences, the broader social issues and stressors. How can we begin to heal relationships so that we can strengthen community, so that we can reach our potential, so we can reach optimal health and wealth, whatever that means for you, so we can really move forward and live the highest quality of life that we deserve. And I hope I can be a part of that mission. So thank you for listening. I love you. Thank you for welcoming me home. Thank you for taking in a political refugee.
Well, you're getting a lot of love in our YouTube chat. So welcome to LA and welcome to KBLA. On site is tomorrow. And just Google him, Micah E. Johnson, UCLA, or Micah E. Johnson on site. It'll be there. Or just pull up to the Lonnie Hall, 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Congratulations, and thank you for stopping by. Tavis Smiley's up next. He's got an incredible show for you, as per usual. You do not want to miss it. Tap in with me on social media as well. I'm at Diprima Radio, DIPRIMA, and then radio. I would love to hear from you off the air as well as on. My dad, the late, great Amiri Baraka, used to say, a man is either free or he is not free. There can be no apprenticeship for freedom. Weigh in, tap in. This is the place where you are free to speak your mind and free to clap back and get involved. Until tomorrow, KBLA delegation, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias is making it easier to get a real ID before TSA's $45 penalty starts February 1st.
Less waiting, less stress, and government that actually works for you.
His office extended the Chicago Supercenter lease through 2026 and partnered with the Cook County Clerk to speed up the process. Another victim has been identified in a mass shooting at a birthday party in Stockton, California. Black 8-year-old girl Maya Lupian was among 4 people killed. 11 others were injured during a celebration with about 100 guests. The suspect is still at large.